Wow, was that started sounding like Amazing Grace for a second?
It did.
That was interesting. So we actually, hi everyone, welcome to We Are a Crotchety Old Man and a
Woman.
Yay, the podcast for you, with you, and sometimes even about you. So while Daniel was here last week, we had a long conversation about bagpipes. So we wanted to play some bagpipe music because we were saying, how come bagpipes are not in like bands? Like they're so cool. So I've discovered a couple people playing tunes, but they're only available like for 10-second clips of like heavy metal bagpipe
In
songs.
fact, the song I was just playing was for a heavy metal band.
Yeah, so it was pretty. That was for Daniel out there. So Abigail, you survived Nerdfest. Not really going to recap much of Nerdfest because it was fun. Last week's podcast was one of our highest rated podcasts by people. People actually said, "Hey, Arden, that was really freaking funny," especially when you were talking about the colonoscopies. Gotta admit, we had no plan of doing that. It just came out, literally. Boop. But one thing I do have to say, we did taco Daniel. Daniel was upset.
Are you sure you want to talk about that?
Yes. So basically, what that is
I mean, you're talking about tacoing another man.
well, I have to explain what a taco is. He's in an air mattress. And at about 6 o'clock in the morning, we snuck down and we pulled the plug on the air mattress. So it actually envelops him, I think that's the correct word, into where he looks like he's in a hard taco shell. And then we plug it back in and he can't get out. So he was actually complaining. So we did do that. That was the fun. Played a lot of video games, ate way too much, which led to the weigh-in. So the official weigh-in, I gained 2 pounds. Ugh.
I didn't bother to weigh in because I know I gained a lot of weight.
I was devastated. I hoped I broke even, but I actually gained 2 pounds. So anyway, next week is better. I have gotten rid of. We had salad today with no meat. Abigail was like, "No, you will not eat meat today." Yeah, she was on me. But we had a nice big salad, and I'm good as long as I have my basement coffee, the finest coffee you can have in a basement. So kind of people are didn't really get that much feedback on the useless fact, but I guess because it's just the useless fact.
Well, I got you a whole book about it, so I expect you to use it.
Well, here it is. Did you know that Tokyo, Japan, is the most densely populated city on Earth?
I did not.
And it may have over 40 million people in Tokyo. Now, that's double New York City.
Right.
So think about how big New York City is and add twice as many people on those subways and everything else.
But as Nancy Pelosi would say, are they hiding in the shadows? Some of them?
That is true. So maybe New York City has more. They certainly are spending more.
I'm thinking Tokyo may have more than they know.
Maybe they have a bunch of who would it actually? They have no borders.
They're forced. Okay, but they're forced to live in the shadows.
That is true. Always living in the shadows. So that was our useless fact of the week. Now, we have actually gotten some people who do not like what we are ask the magical Trump orb. We had some good questions last week. So, Abigail, you're going to go first with your first magical Trump orb question.
Okay. I guess this is somewhat suspenseful since we're not to the 20th yet, but will Joe Biden still be alive for the inauguration?
Uh-oh.
Not even a little bit. Not even 1%.
Oh, no.
No, because I forgot to say I
Oh,
don't want Kamala Harris to have the presidency for 1 second.
wow. That's scary prediction.
Yeah, let's
Maybe,
just hope the Trump orb is wrong.
or maybe they hide him. Did you ever see the movie Dave? Where the president actually is in a coma and he's actually brain dead, and they actually get a guy to stand in for him. Maybe that's what they'll do for Biden, which they have believe it. They've actually said that he does sometimes use a body double. My turn. Question. Magical Trump orb. Now, we're not going to go politics here. Will the New York Rangers stop effing around and make the playoffs?
I think it's totally ridiculous.
No!
Abigail agrees. Every time I hear about the New York Rangers, they have lost.
Come on. Rempe's back. They're 1-0 with Rempe back in the lineup. When he plays, they win. Anyway, your turn.
Okay, I saw this item on the internet, and I cannot resist asking. But will Arden's mother
Uh-oh.
get the Titanic Lego set?
I have no idea.
I think that's
Ah,
a good answer because this set is incredible.
Tell me about
Over
it.
9,000 pieces. But
Wow.
what makes it very incredible is it's $999.
Wait, $1,000 for a Lego set.
But it does have 9,000 pieces.
Oh, so basically, if you're paying $1 per piece,
It's a
no.
deal. It's just
Is it like
it's a dime.
Wow, yeah, I was about to say it's one dime per piece.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, maybe my sister will buy that for my mom for Mother's Day. Wow, here, Mom, here's some Legos, and it's the Titanic. Hope you don't go down. Actually, I wonder, is my mom older than the Titanic? Oh, that's so mean. I said my mom built the Titanic.
You better watch your tongue.
She's old. She's so old.
Oh my God, she's
so
your
cute.
mother. Stop saying that.
She's gonna live to like 190. Oh man, it's all
Well, before we go into local things, I guess I wanted to briefly talk about
okay.
the college playoffs.
Oh, for what sport?
Football.
Honestly, I have no clue what's going on in college sports. So tell me,
Okay,
what's
it's
going
a
on?
new format, and it's
Okay.
like the NFL. They've got a bracket,
Okay.
and there's essentially wild card games, whereas the top seeded people got a bye.
Okay. Now,
But what happened was all 4 teams that got the bye ended up losing the game.
oh
They
wow.
played it. And a
Wow.
lot of people are upset, and they
Right.
said that it was unfair, and clearly the advantage was with the team that got to play the week prior to the main game.
Right.
Well, that to me is just a bunch of bull hucky. Those teams just lost. Period. Now I'm rooting for Notre Dame, so I'm a bit biased because they're still in it. They knocked off Georgia. They knocked off Penn State. And that was the Orange Bowl. And then the other complaint I keep hearing about is that the winner of the Orange Bowl receives $20 million, but they have to share it with the other teams in their conference. But guess what, Arden?
What?
Notre Dame is not in a conference.
Oh.
And if we would go back a year and a half ago on this podcast, when I tried to explain how the college football playoff would pan out, there was a special statement about Notre Dame.
Right. Right.
And now they are in the championship game.
And who are they playing? So like Ohio State or something like that?
It will be Ohio State.
Ohio State.
But guess what, Arden? They don't play until the 20th. So does that mean both teams are at a disadvantage?
Wait, they're playing on Martin Luther King Day?
And Inauguration Day.
Oh, is there an NFL playoffs on the 19th, Sunday?
Probably.
Okay, maybe that's why. That would make sense.
I know, but the 20th is far away. So
Oh, yeah.
according to the other people's theories, neither team is going to be able to win.
It'll be a tie. Well, so one of the things I did hear is that because the first round games, the home team was actually playing at home. Then they played the teams that, as you said, the teams that got the week off. Those teams, it became a neutral site game.
They were the big bowl games.
Right, but they were neutral.
Sugar Bowl.
Right, but they were a neutral site. So I think like Oregon, who was the number one seed overall, never got to play a home game in the playoffs. So if there were no buys, they would have at least hosted one game, and they would have actually played in Oregon. So they had weeks off. They had a week off. Then they had to travel to a destination where they had to practice. But yeah, that's one of the reasons maybe why they lost. Plus, they lost all of the money they would have made being a home team. Even if they lost the game at home, all the receipts is their money. So I think they will be doing something to fix that because it's not fair. Maybe the bye teams, I know maybe they have to have more teams or something.
I disagree with that. There's nothing wrong with the buy setup.
Except if you're not making any money.
They already make a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but if they could host another home game, think about what is it, Michigan, in the big house that hosts over 100,000 people. That's a lot of money. 100,000 people in one area, one spot. Ohio State's over 100,000. Penn State is like 96,000. It's incredible. So those teams want to play at home. Anyway.
All right, let's move on.
I don't really care.
Exciting events that happened here in our location, beginning with last weekend and a little more last night. So, Arden?
So I was thinking about snow. And I was like, okay, first of all, I haven't shoveled in forever, which is pretty freaking fun to begin with. I haven't shoveled probably in about 8 years since I was at my brother's house and there was a snowstorm. And I got really mad because I went to pick up the mail after I shoveled myself off, and because no one actually plowed our street for a while, I had to go to the mailbox. And there literally was nothing. I mean, I couldn't get to the mailbox because no one had shoveled the walks from the HOA. So it was the next day after the snow. And Abigail actually did get a piece of mail that she has right in front of her. And she's a little ticked off at me, not at me, at this. And I don't know what it is. What are you reading? You're
well, I mean, it has nothing to do with the snow, but I got this pamphlet to the quote current resident, and it's from a Julie Brisman, who is the Algonquian district supervisor.
What is Algonquian?
Arden and I live in the Algonquian district of Loudoun County.
Okay.
This woman apparently is only a vice chair of the board of supervisors.
Okay.
Well, Arden, you may not remember, but when the governor of Virginia was running, what's his name?
Youngkin?
Yeah, Youngkin.
Not Algonquin.
It was a very hot topic about boys being allowed in girls' restrooms in high schools.
Right, transgender boys.
A father showed up to one of the meetings because his daughter had been raped in the bathroom at a Loudoun County school, and they ended up arresting him.
Because he got all fired up and was
That's
screaming
right.
And he threatened.
And Youngkin used that as a
springboard,
as a break springboard for his campaign, and he eventually won the election.
Well, we have a little bit more about it. That same boy actually was thrown out of another school for a similar incident.
Exactly, and that's just unconscionable.
So
anyway, I'm going to do this
because you're doing the Rush Limbaugh.
I want to try to present to you that this woman spent a lot of money on these flyers with its thick paper and colored photos. But anyway, she essentially highlighted her quote key initiatives.
Okay.
And the first one was, since we're talking about HOAs, she gave permission for HOAs to implement pickleball.
Can you explain what an HOA is to people who don't live?
It is a homeowners association.
Okay.
Any newer neighborhood built probably beginning in the early 80s has an HOA in which they dictate whether or not you can paint your house a certain color, whether or not you can build a certain type of deck, etc., etc. So they police the neighborhood to maintain conformity. I can't say the word.
I will accept it. Conformity.
Conformity, okay. So most people have them and they pay a monthly fee. Now, you do get garbage collection and a couple things out of it.
But you don't get shoveling.
But my HOA is a double HOA since we're considered a condo. So I pay an exorbitant amount of money for very little. And part of it was that they're supposed to shovel, and they did not. And I will be protesting that.
Now, what else is on this flyer? Because I want to come back to the shoveling. I know it sounds petty, but go right ahead.
Okay, another thing she's bragging about is a bamboo ordinance. That they are drafting an ordinance to require property owners to contain bamboo growth to within their property lines. I'm sorry, does the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors have nothing better to do than worry about this?
Well, actually, my brother had a problem with bamboo. He was in College Park, Maryland, and we learned a lot. Bamboo, if you see a stalk grow up, later on, it will go underground roughly 6 feet and shoot up another stalk. 6 feet, another stalk.
I believe it.
So if you have bamboo in the only way to get rid of it is to poison it. You cannot cut it down. It gets hard. The more times you cut it down, the faster it will go. And it will go. Anyone who grows bamboo in their home, in their yard, is an idiot. I mean, it's a massive plant that grows very, very fast and will go to other people's yards. And you can't do anything about it. So it should be banned, from people's backyards entirely. No more bamboo.
No more bamboo.
That's what I'm going to run on.
If it weren't for this lady, it may, who knows? Bamboo could take up all of the Algonquian district.
Right. We're going to be living in a bamboo jungle.
Okay, so the other thing she did that it kind of just defines all politicians. That, quote, she started an initiative authorizing county staff to research additional early voting locations.
Ooh.
Okay, the key word is she did nothing but authorize the staff to do research. You can apply that concept to pretty much every decision that a politician makes.
Right, to authorize. Anything.
The authorization.
Right. She rubber stamped it to just do research. So she could say, I authorized research into cancer funding.
Right.
I mean,
and they act like they've done something.
Right. Congratulations.
All right, the last one. Again, This is a vice chair. Basically, the LGBTQ plus inclusivity, say it.
That's good enough for me.
Review. So she has the county staff undertaking a review of county policies and practices to ensure inclusivity to the LGBTQ plus community. Again, I thought we were done with all that crap, but apparently we're not. And Arden, I'm sorry I had to talk about that, but I rarely read these types of pamphlets. But I had to read this one.
Is there a vote coming or something? Why would you just...
And why is she sending this out? She's not even the freaking... she's a vice chair.
If she was running, that would actually make sense.
But she's not running.
All right, but, by the way, don't we actually know? This is the 2024 initiatives. That's what it says.
She's congratulating herself.
She's congratulating... By the way, Loudoun County, which is primarily a Democrat county, was actually pretty close. I think Camilla only won it by 9 points or something like that. In the last election, it was 20 to 30 points. So these people, they just keep running on losing issues. But I want to talk about the whole shoveling thing again.
Okay.
Because so it snowed. Now down here, it was 5 inches to 7 inches.
It was a good 7.
Yeah, which would probably be in New Jersey 18 inches, or New York 18 inches. So I got to put it into a little bit of context. But to not shovel, first of all, they didn't plow the side streets at all until they actually said they sent an email that they would plow the streets once it was done snowing. And it snowed from 11 p.m. to through the following day. They didn't, so it started, it was Saturday it started snowing. Saturday at 11 p.m. it started snowing.
Yes.
Snowed all through Sunday. They didn't plow once. And then it finally tapered off late Sunday night. And it was unbelievable. So, and then they didn't have anyone actually, all of the common areas, I guess you would call it, not shoveled, not snow blown. So if you wanted to get to the mailbox, which I had to do, you actually had to walk in the snow or shovel it out yourself. But I did find out we have some cool neighbors. By myself and the guy next to me, I shoveled his stuff. I shoveled up to his driveway and almost out of his driveway, and then I came out today because it snowed again, and he shoveled ours. And we're shoveling out empty spots for parking because I lost my parking spot after I cleaned it perfectly. It was awesome, and he also lost his spot. I found out right after. So we cleaned out all of the empty spots. Thank you.
But
Cleaned out. I should get a pamphlet.
no, but I have to fact check you because
Fact
we
check.
all know Facebook now has admitted that they were told by the Democratic Party what to censor. But anyway, here's the fact check on you. We
Fact
got
check.
it wrong. The snow started on Sunday night.
Oh, Sunday night. Yeah.
And we actually had to close down
Oh,
my
sorry.
workplace
Sorry.
because of the snow level on Monday morning.
That's
But
right.
they did not plow the streets until the middle of the night on Tuesday morning.
Which was insane. It was insane. By the way, Nerdfest ended early because Alfred was afraid of the snow. And you know what? I'm glad he did. I missed the guy. We did not eat everything. There were pretzels left over. Very poor job by Daniel. He did not eat everything, but I had to go into that. But what I did learn though, this is once again my opinion, HOAs are just like the government.
Yeah.
They really are. You elect these people to a board. They control what's going on. And if we're seeing California wildfires, completely idiots. We see North Carolina, the government, federal government, has completely forgotten about them. Remember Maui? Completely forgotten. The only reason why California is still in the news now is because it's California. It's LA.
Arden.
And all those poor people in LA. But
Did
anyway.
you see the governor, or no, the mayor of
Oh,
LA?
what, you speechless?
She was trying to get off the plane, and she stood there like a stone rock, and this reporter is just asking her questions about what's going on, and all she did was stare.
Right. She
It
couldn't do
was
anything.
really creepy.
And the more you learn about this stuff, like this is all, there was a government bond posted 8 years ago to have reservoirs handle the water emergency for this. They never built them. And now the Democrats keep saying it's climate change, it's climate. No, it's the same problem every effing year in California. The winds blow at this time of year. They don't clean up. They don't have controlled burns. So literally, there's forest fires every single year. There's nothing new. It's just that this one is bigger. And people, they have no water because they had to divert water to save the smelt. By the way, I thought, okay, is this the only place for this fish? No. The same whoever smelt it, dealt it. Like, that thing is in other lakes and other rivers. So, you know what? If you got a problem, get a big net, catch the freaking smelt, and throw them in another river. I don't care. People are dying. I mean, and I do feel bad even for the ultra liberals who are losing their homes. But you know what? F 'em.
They say you get what you pay for. Well, you get what you vote for.
Right. And especially because they are the biggest taxed area in the country and they don't even have water in their fire hydrants. And they're like bragging about it. Like, what's wrong with these assholes? Yeah, I call them assholes.
Well, and the end of the Trump felony
Oh, I
trial
forgot about
has
that.
finally come and gone.
Oh, what was it called?
What was the sentence?
Oh man, it was some weird thing. It was like an undisciplined. It was
Right.
so it's going to be appealed. I thought Trump was actually going to go to New York City and sit there and stare at this idiot. I mean,
That would have been hysterical.
so let's look at what happened. They had a trial. It lasted what, 20 something days, 22 days or something like that. New York City spent millions of dollars because they had to pay for all the security. They had to pay for all the clothes that put everything. Alvin Bragg thinks he's a great man. You know, I also know Judge Merchan was hand selected. He just happened to also be on the Steve Bannon trial. Interesting. He wasn't supposed to be on this trial. He wasn't scheduled, but he was. I mean, they're so happy because now he's technically a felon. Now, you know what happens when you have a felony? Besides not being able to own a handgun?
It's going to impact him
Well,
for his presidency.
Well, here's the problem. If you are a convicted felon, a lot of other countries will not let you in their country by law. So, yes, he's the president, but Canada does not let convicted felons come into their country. So does that mean he can't go to Canada?
It could be. That's maybe why he wants to buy it.
Maybe. I think so. 51st state?
It would just be like Twitter to Elon Musk. Just buy it.
Just buy it. I mean, well, I think, what about Greenland? I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but with Greenland, like, it's a no-brainer if they could buy it. And supposedly, the prime minister of Greenland was talking about they have a possible vote on independence. So Greenland, and this is going to be in April, it is possible that they could be an independent country from Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, they also don't speak Danish. How weird is that? They are Danish people who don't speak Danish at all. They speak Greenlandic and English. Isn't that interesting?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Danish language.
The Danish. Yes.
Okay.
I'm a Danish. Oh, eat me, I'm a Danish. Bad song. That might have been Weird Al. Anyway, so if you spent $1 trillion, every single person could in Denmark could actually get over $200,000 to their bank account. Can you imagine that? Everyone got, and by the way, there's only roughly 53,000 people in Greenland. We're in Loudoun County, Fairfax County. Our population is that already. I mean, that's not even Yankee Stadium. That's it. That's the entire population.
That's incredible.
It's so tiny. But it's such a strategic place and has enough, it has oil, minerals, it's got all of that stuff that we need. And they've tried to get it. You know, Truman tried to get it. I think Trump will get it. And I think it would be great.
I think so too.
And then when the Democrats come up with we want Puerto Rico as a state, we want Washington, D.C. to be a state, he could say, I want Greenland to be a state. Because what happens is you always have to have it in two. And it's usually, it's very strange and it's always political. It's usually one Republican state, one Democrat state. And that's why we don't want, Puerto Rico to be a state, because it would be another Democrat-controlled one. And Washington, D.C. should never be a state. But that's a whole other topic. They should be representative, and they should be counted in the vote for the state of Maryland. That's what it should be. For voting purposes, they should be Maryland.
Why?
Because, more useless information. So originally when Washington was created, it was basically a square, a perfect square.
Right.
But early on in the 1800s, Virginia demanded their land back, and they took it back. So like Arlington, Alexandria, that was originally part of Washington, D.C. Maryland did not take their land back. So if Maryland got their land back, Washington, D.C. would fall into Maryland. So it'd be another So, I mean, Maryland is a big Democratic area anyway. Who cares if they get another city with more Democrats?
No offense to anyone that lives in Maryland, but I hate it.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So, what did you think of Biden's award medals that he handed out last week. I guess the first two were pretty obvious that they would be the fan favorites. George Soros and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
What award did they get?
They got the Congressional Medal of Freedom, which is the highest civilian medal you can get. Now,
But what did they do to earn that?
well, let's see. George Soros has actually paid for a lot of lawyers, like Alvin Bragg, and actually tried to convince Democrat voters to go more socialist. He's also kind of overthrown other small areas of countries financially. Basically,
Okay.
he bets on losing.
All right. Well, I feel that type of award should go to somebody that helps citizens.
Yeah,
Does something for them.
and I mean, sadly, it goes both ways. I mean, I actually read the list of every single person, and you're sitting there going, why? Like, the Medal of Freedom, to me, should go to some person who did something extraordinary. Like, you went to the moon, you discovered the cure of polio, like something like that, something huge. Like, and then you should also be an American. like Messi, the soccer player, got one.
Really?
Yes, a lot of musicians, actors, actresses, they all get them. And it's both sides. So I don't want to say it's a Republican and both sides do it. But when you give it to George Soros, I mean, the guy's an evil man. He really is. I mean, he wants a lot of people dead because he just wants to make money. And his son is a little butt wipe as well. And Hillary, come on. What difference does it make if she's got it? I mean, Benghazi, the email. I mean, she's lucky she's not in prison. It's unbelievable.
Right. And I think we did touch upon it, but Liz Cheney got the Presidential Citizens Award.
Right.
And got a standing ovation. But, I read an article from a conservative news source who said, in the end, Liz Cheney did the Republican Party a great favor because she has essentially shifted all the neocons to the Democratic Party.
She did. And what's the other guy? The Wiener, the manly guy who was in Congress, that he got voted out as well. Shit, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he's gone too. He'll probably get it next. It's just, I mean, Cheney she's an idiot. She hopefully will be investigated because she may have destroyed evidence on the January 6th trial.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing. I mean, you have these ass munches on, The View who are like, oh my God, January 6th is as bad as Pearl Harbor, 9/11, the Holocaust.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, seriously,
anyway, yeah.
And so, like, Liz Cheney, who may have destroyed evidence. Sound familiar, Hillary? If they're destroying evidence, or lost evidence, they should be fined heavily, go to jail, lose. And here's the big one. How about this? Lose your pension. Oh yeah, lose all of that money.
Well, Arden, as we head into the new Trump era, we're going to see a lot of good things. And, what is your top thing you're hoping to see happen? Besides Greenland.
Besides Greenland, they stop eating the cats and eating the dogs.
Well, I think you can say we're going to end the nonsense in this country.
I think there still will be nonsense. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that is boring TV. Like, there'll be motions to not have things. I think I'm worried about Republicans blocking Republican vote. I know Trump wants to do the two giant legislations or one giant to get everything through, but then you have a bunch of Republicans who are like, I don't want this one thing. I'm worried about that. But what I like to see, I want taxes to go down. I'm sorry, keep the Trump tax cut. They don't have, and then I want spending cut. That's the big one. Cutting spending across the board. Maybe bring back the penny plan. I want Doge to actually get rid of $2 trillion in waste. Seal the border tight. I mean, if I had my way, every illegal would be fingerprinted and had DNA testing. Go to jail. You got one time you're free. You come back, you're going to jail for a long time. Three times, I don't care. You're going to Ukraine.
Well, you want to know what Abigail wants?
Well, peace.
No.
End of climate change.
I want the end of DEI.
Oh God.
Which may be tough to overcome, but he's got to give it a shot.
A lot of companies are learning their lesson.
I also want to have a secure border and a much more effective foreign policy. And of course, really my number one is to keep the taxes low. Now, Arden, did you know?
Did I know?
That this is Abigail's second favorite season, and that would be tax season. I enjoy it.
You are a very strange woman.
I love getting all the little statements and putting them together and tackling that 1040. I love it.
Okay. Basically, I'll go to H&R Block and be like, here you go. I'll pay the guy. All right, yay. You know what? I could do my federal taxes, but my state taxes confuse the shit out of me. And there was the 1 year where I owed $2 to the state of Virginia. $2. And last year was incredible. I broke even.
I know. I've never heard.
I didn't have to pay, and I didn't get a dime. I broke perfectly.
You had to pay the tax man.
I had to pay him to
return.
Right, but you know what? That means the government actually did a good job, because you should never have to pay or have it taken away. I mean, you shouldn't receive money either, if that makes sense.
Right.
I mean, because think about it. If you owe the tax man, you start paying fines. But for them, if you do your return, you'll get it eventually. They don't give me any interest on that. It's my money. Stop taking all my money, sons of bitches. Freaking HOAs. Yeah, I gotta go back to the. I'm still mad at the shoveling. By the way, it wasn't me being fat and lazy. I actually was enjoying it. I was taking my time.
Well, I gotta admit, when I woke up and I looked out the window and looked down, I saw a man shoveling. And Arden, don't take this the wrong way, but I just assumed it was my neighbor. But then I turned around and you weren't in bed anymore. And then I said, that's Arden out there, and I didn't even have to ask him to do it.
I was being manly man. She was like, ooh, he's shoveling. Grr.
I was very, very, very impressed.
Yeah, I let her sleep in. It was good for me. Anyway, you know what, Abigail? Next week, we're going to have some more fun. Feel free to reach out to us. Best way is through Twitter, @CrotchetyOldMen, on Twitter, @CrotchetyOldMen. The other way is we are crotchetyoldmen@gmail.com. We are crotchetyoldmen@gmail.com. And also you can, through the direct podcast, you can actually reach out to us, believe it or not. And I keep thinking, this sounds like either Wish You Were Here or Amazing Grace.
I think it's more about Amazing Grace.
Well, this wings, like Wish You Were Here.
Here we go.
All right. This is for Daniel. Bagpipes. It does sound like that. Amazing Grace. It does.